Good morning and welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. What's next for you? Visit cnext.bank for more. Already visited that website once this morning. Welcome to the last Monday in the year. Monday, December 29th. We are in that weird in-between time between Christmas and New Year's where nobody knows what day of the week it is. Some of us are working, some of us are not. The kids are out of school. It's just full-blown, unadulterated chaos. So I hope you're navigating it as well as you could navigate it. This morning's forecast made possible by ServPro, Monroe, West Monroe. Faster at any size disaster. Call or click servpro.com for more. I-20 traffic, not really much of a factor. Again, it's that weird time of the year where oh, goodness, got the frog in the throat. It's that weird time of the year where some of us are working, some of us aren't. The kids are out of the school, so there's not really much of a, traffic issue during the morning hours. But at 8 a.m. or at 7:57, things are moving relatively smoothly. Temperatures across the area this morning, some of us have returned to the freezing mark. And I will say that temperatures have not necessarily outperformed in many locations, but they are pretty much landing exactly where we expected them to land. Some areas are below freezing to start the day. A lot of us are in the 30s, and then along the Mississippi Valley, especially as you move into the southern parishes and counties, we're still holding in the mid-40s. But it's just been a steady free fall of temperatures through the overnight hours. A lot of us were in the 70s yesterday or even in the low 80s yesterday afternoon. So a far cry from where we were a mere 24 hours ago. Jeremy, good morning. Yes, it is a sharp change. Compare that to where we were 24 hours ago. Speaking of temperature changes, and most of us are a good 20 to near 40 degrees colder than we were at this point yesterday. So if you're stepping outside and going, yep, we're all doing the same thing. Wind speeds, also noticeably rude. If you step outside, generally in the 5 to 15 mile an hour range. But again, when you accompany that with some pretty chilly conditions, it'll get your attention. And expect those winds to stay breezy through the day. Peak wind gusts over the last hour or so, generally in the 20 to 25 mile an hour range, but we've also still seen some 30 mile an hour wind gusts. Melinda says it is absolutely rude outside. It is, especially when you've been sitting at 80 for the last couple of weeks, or a couple of days. Seems like the last couple of weeks. We've been in the upper 70s to near 80, really for the better part of a week. Peak wind gusts in the last 24 hours, most of us topped out somewhere in the 30 to 40 mile an hour range in terms of the strongest wind gusts we've seen. Some of us have surpassed that. Greenville's hit 40, Shreveport hit 43 miles an hour, and then Monroe hit 48 miles an hour right around 10 p.m. last night. Good morning, Louisiana Cooker on YouTube. Our YouTube count is up. More folks are joining us on YouTube. I figured that would take a while, but I'm glad. I know that one of them is my daughter. She's eating her breakfast in the other room, and so from her little high chair, she's watching Dad. Or at least she should be. She's got to pay attention to the forecast. Yeah, it was a pretty sharp change in terms of the cold front as it moved through the area. That's when we got that 48 mile an hour wind gust last night, Jeremy. Most of us were dropping a good 10 to 15 degrees immediately along the boundary. In fact, I believe the National Weather Service in Memphis on X has kind of a time lapse of their digital thermometer, and it's just going, and it just keeps dropping. Or that's the sound it would make if it was dropping. Melinda says the weather has been amazing this past week, and I need to fix this. It's prediction, not production. I can tell you in general what's going to happen, sometimes specifically what's going to happen, a lot of the time specifically what's going to happen. It doesn't necessarily mean I can control it. Be cool if I could, though. Be really cool. Not a lot of rainfall. We had some bursts of showers as they moved through. Even a lot of it wasn't on radar. Just kind of a little quick punch of rain as the front moved through, but it was very, very lackluster. And in fact, underperforming even from what we were expecting. We weren't expecting much rain-wise, and we somehow underproduced the low expectations of rainfall. So that's kind of a bummer. Drought monitor shows really no big surprises here. This was updated on Christmas Day. A lot of folks really didn't pay attention to it because it came out on Christmas Day. The next one will come out on New Year's Day, and so many folks will be so glassy-eyed on Thursday that they won't even realize that. But moderate drought conditions are expanding their reach across the region. We need rainfall. We need the pattern to flip. We need it to change. We need the La Nina pattern to get on out, which we've been talking for several weeks now that eventually it would phase out, and it should. It will. We were hoping that it would happen November. It didn't happen. We were hoping December. It didn't happen. Eddie, May, Leanne, good morning. So January, hopefully that's the month. But I will say that if we do become more neutral in pattern in terms of the El Nino, La Nina, what we call the ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation cycle, then things can get a little bit more active and a little bit wackier relatively quickly. But no signs of that in the short term. Last of the clouds will scoot out. We'll call it mostly sunny skies today. Radar products made possible, as always, by Brown's Roofing. If the radar has been unkind to your roof, schedule your free roof inspection at brownsroofingla.com. Did, again, see that brief burst of rainfall. What you're seeing moving through portions of Mississippi and Alabama, I think fully indicates kind of what we ran into late last night. It was very brief bursts of rain. We had some slight redevelopment in the southern parishes as the boundary moved through, but most of this rain was moving so quickly, it was never really much of a factor. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 Frontage Road in Monroe. You got a little Christmas money in your pockets, go see Mike and the gang. They'll get you squared away with a dirt bike, ATV, side-by-side. Those side-by-sides are so cool. Clear skies as we go through the next couple of days, and maybe even a reinforcing slight punch of cooler air continuing through the daytime hours tomorrow. Wouldn't even call it a cold front, just keeping us cool through the daytime hours on Tuesday. And then the winds become fairly weak through the middle parts of this week, especially Wednesday and into New Year's Day. And that's when we start to see a little bit of a warming trend. Upper level pattern also kind of favors a little bit of a warm up, especially as we head toward the second half of the week in this upcoming weekend. Winds back out of the south. Cloud cover returns, maybe a spotty shower or two on Friday, and then we swing another cold front through here this weekend. What that front means in terms of rain chances, again, pretty limited on Friday. What that means in terms of colder air behind it, we'll wait and see. Not a lot of signs of anything significant here in the short term, although the computer models have continued to point toward a storm system next week, which I feel like I've said that for the last 3 months. Maybe next week, or maybe in 10 days, maybe. Again, the computer models can point to stuff and the data can trend in a direction, but until it happens, you have to kind of meet a lot of that stuff with skepticism. Mary Jo, Susie, Sean, good morning to all of you. Jeremy wants to see some snow in February. That's going to be our best opportunity, I would think, month-wise. Is it going to happen? I don't know. That's not what I'm getting to, and I think most folks understand that. But I think that'll probably be our best opportunity in terms of time frame, month, just aligning everything together. Of course, depending on who you follow and who you ask, some folks will say a lot sooner than that. So, but we don't play that game here. We don't do that here. Futurecast temperature shows this maybe rebounding a few degrees this afternoon, mid to upper 40s. So areas like El Dorado where you're at or below freezing, you will warm up today, but you won't have a high temperature today because you already hit that at midnight. when you were at 48, 49 degrees or whatever you were at that point. So there won't be a lot of setting new high temperatures this afternoon because we've fallen so much from where we were at midnight that even as we rebound a smidge this afternoon, it won't make that much of a difference. And we've also not seen our low temperatures for the day. We'll probably see those at 11, 59, 59 tonight because a lot of us will be back to or below freezing by then. Depends on location. By tomorrow morning, most of us firmly below freezing. Mid to upper 20s, low 30s. I know Futurecast is a little bit aggressive. Good morning, Leanne from Dubach. Good morning, Carolyn. I've got us 25, 26 degrees generally. And in southern Arkansas, upper 20s to near 30 along I-20, and then low 30s in the southern counties and parishes. Temperatures rebound a smidge for the daytime hours on Tuesday, but not much. A degree or two at best. We're staying cool, mid-40s. Back below freezing for a good chunk of the area for the last morning of 2025. That's Wednesday morning. Near 30 degrees. But note the winds. The wind lines are already back out of the southwest at this point, and that's probably going to trend us a smidge warmer as we start the daytime hours on Wednesday. And then we continue that warming trend to near 60 on Wednesday, and then a lot of us probably into the low 60s for Thursday, the first day of the new year. Not a whole lot happening this week. It's cold. We've seen the kind of the reset temperature-wise. Good morning, Lana. But that's about it. Could we see some more dramatic changes this weekend, next week? It's possible. But generally speaking, most of this week remains fairly quiet. So if you have holiday travel that you're wrapping up, if you're just off work and wanting to enjoy things, I've got some good news for you. You should be able to do that. It'll be breezy today. At 55 is horribly misleading. That is our high temperature for the day, but we've already seen it. Most of us will spend the rest of the day in the 40s. I shouldn't even shown you this graphic. Overnight lows tonight, upper 20s to near 30 degrees. Winds will stay out of the north-northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. And look at the 7-day forecast, made possible by 3B Hardware. Again, the 55 today is very, 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 very horribly misleading because we've already seen that. Most of us will spend the day in the 40s, maybe rebounding into the 40s because a lot of us are in the 30s currently. Back into the 40s again for highs on Tuesday, and then the warming trend is on, carrying us back into the 60s for the first couple of days of the new year. Morning lows, generally 30s and 40s. We'll spend a couple of days below freezing as well, a couple of mornings below freezing Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's how things shake out as we start this work week. Good morning, Janet and Jan. And like I said, as we wrap up the year, we wrap it up really on an extremely quiet note, which is good news. I know a lot of folks are just kind of tired of the severe weather, which seems like that's what we always deal with here. And really, I would say for the last 6 or 8 months, it's been very, very quiet. So good news there, because eventually it's the pattern's gonna flip. It's gonna change. We're gonna go right back to what we're more accustomed to across our area. Too Long Didn't Read comes out at 9:30. I'll join you for a midday stream, and then I'll join you for a late day stream. Fishing Game comes out later tonight, just in case you don't know how we do things here. Good morning, Peavy. And if this is the first time you've stumbled across the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank, we're so glad you're here. If this is not your first rodeo, we're also glad you're here. Forecasts can always be found at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users, made possible by James Spivey, bankruptcy attorney. And we'll just set the stage for the rest of the week. General warming trend once we get beyond tomorrow, but today and tomorrow will be quite chilly, and we will be below freezing tonight and tomorrow night, so make sure that you plan accordingly for your pets and plants and things of that nature for the next few nights. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. Enjoy your Monday. I'll catch up with you guys in just a couple of hours.